my cheek as I draw upon its body. A gust of wind cascades across my face, and black as night, a dark bird leads me through the hollow grounds of my remaining childhood memories. The warmth of the fire which lines the stone walls of the narrow corridor is nullified by its presence. I stare at the bird, and it only looks and stares back, its eyes cold and devoid of human connection, until it turns, revealing itself. And the three of us. It's the Game of Thrones noobs.
There we go.
Hey everybody, it's the three of us. We're here with another episode for you to listen and hear us review it. This is Jojo the Mountain Beard.
I'm Dave Cave Draws. I'm the host. That's my co-host. I don't know. We're all hosts in a way.
I am the co-host, the Mountain Beard.
I'm the assistant to the co-host, Kit, aka Pineapple Smiles.
How'd you guys feel about this episode?
Big thumbs up. Big thumbs up.
I thought it was moderately entertaining. Some fun things did happen, but I don't know. The previous episodes I found a little more exciting.
All right, I actually really liked this episode, but shockingly little happened to further the story in this episode. Like at the end,
yes,
I always do like a little recap after the episode to be like, okay, what are the main like plot points that happened in the episode? And it was like kind of hard to pick them out this time around. I was like, wait, did anything we just kind of like met a bunch of like new characters, and if the last few episodes were like broad brushstrokes, this one was like a bunch of little like detailed brushstrokes. It's like we're painting the leaves on the tree.
Try to figure out which house I'm part of every episode. And I did leave the episode and I went, I have no idea which house I'm going to claim today. I don't know. I didn't resonate with any of them, but I have to pick one. It's the rule.
I feel like I would be House Snow or Daenerys again.
Snow!
Or House Prostitute.
House Prostitute, let's go!
Unnamed prostitute. I called her Prosy in my...
Oh, yeah. There's that.
She looked really good in this episode. That's all I gotta say. But
did. No, you're right. You were correct about that. She was looking very nice.
All right, hold on.
Oh wait, I think you're that's funny because they allude to one that's more seemingly epic. Yeah, that's
another prostitute. There isn't much talk. I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
First hair.
When we
I could just be House Nan, Old Nan right now.
I want to change houses. Old Nan, yes.
You guys are just picking characters you like. I don't think there's any actual reason. Nothing in the episode.
Well, I do have
influenced any of this.
I do. Well, something in real life influenced.
Okay, we're moving into the Realm Report, where I talk about important things that happened around the time this episode was first aired, which was on May 8th, 2011, which is a week after the last one came out. So all the same stuff. I mean, okay, there were some...
Why do we do this?
There were some Mississippi River floods. There were some... the King of Bahrain ordered an end to the emergency law imposed after I don't know what that is. Osama bin Laden was killed. The movies Thor and Fast 5 came out just like the last 4 weeks. The game LA Noire came out May 17th, 2011, so I'll probably be saying that again next week. And that does it for the Realm Report.
Woohoo!
I don't know, I just think it's kind of cool to, if you're listening back to this stuff, it kind of, even if none of that stuff makes sense, maybe you're remembering what you were doing around that time.
Oh, I am. And I honestly, I'm debating whether or not I should say, but I will age myself
Okay.
I will age myself. All right, guys, I'm saying it. We're committing. I was graduating high school.
Oh my god. All right, yeah,
Funny
let's,
though.
whatever. I
I like
don't care about
it. Yeah.
any of this, honestly. Let's go into the walkthrough.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my god!
So the Realm Report is done. Season 1, Episode 4. The episode's called Cripples, Bastards, and Broken Things. All right, so, okay, just to recap what's happened in the story so far. Ned and his kids have moved to Winterfell. To King's Landing from Winterfell to be Rob's helping hand. That's his title, right? He's just the hand. He should have a giant
The hand of
shirt.
the king.
He should have a shirt with like a handprint on it. That'd be cool. Daenerys has been forced to marry Cal of the Dothraki by her brother, who just wants to like utilize the Dothraki army. But Daenerys, I don't know, has plans of her own, and she's taking full advantage of her new position as Khaleesi, which is like queen of the Dothraki. So, man, she kind of got like a huge. It's like her brother gave her like $1 billion, basically.
Yes.
Like, you know, like I'm gonna force you to marry this dude for my own benefit, but you're also gonna be rich and powerful, and I won't be able to do. It didn't seem like he planned that out very well. And then also Jon Snow has begun his stay at the White Wall, his tenure, his his residency as a Night Watchman. And he's quickly learned that it's like not what he was told it would be by most people, except for Tyrion. And that's pretty much all. Those are like the main storylines. There's other stuff too, but all right. Do you guys have anything to say about what's happened in the story so far?
Nope.
All right, because it's just going to be a lot of me talking in a row then, so.
Okay.
All right, so, okay, let's kick it off with Chapter 1. Okay, the first scene is we see Bran walking around practicing archery, and then he sees a raven. He follows it. It has 3 eyes. And then it's a dream, and he wakes up and he's in bed, and he's still paralyzed from the waist down. He can't walk. He wakes up in his bed next to Direwolf and Old Bat. I forgot her name was Old Nan, so.
Oh no.
I don't know. Bat. I don't know. And then not Tom comes in. So it's not Rob, right? It's somebody else.
Correct.
Okay, they look they should have picked different looking actors.
They very much do. I agree with you. I very strongly agree.
He walks in, comes in, and is like, Bran, you've got visitors. And he calls in Hodor, who's like a big, strong, oafish dude who he only says his name like a Pokemon. And he picks up Bran and walks out. How can we describe Hodor? He's just like a big, oafish dude that just does whatever he's told. He's like a servant, dumb guy. I don't know.
Yeah,
Is he a servant?
He's just muscle.
Yeah. He's like muscle, does what he said, does whatever you tell him to do without question. Like you can't once he's doing the thing, you can't stop him. And he says his name. He's Hodor. He's constantly saying his name the whole time. All right, in the next scene, we're in the hall with Tyrion, who is talking to Rob about I don't know, I think they were talking about the Night Watch. I didn't really catch it. They're bickering a little, just playful jabs at each other. I mean, it's not like playful, but little subtle insults again. It's always subtle insults whenever it's Tyrion. And Hodor lumbers in holding Bran. Tyrion gives him some like IKEA instructions for like horse riding bracers or whatever. He's like, here's some drawings I did for your legs. I don't know. And then so Bran will still eventually be able to ride a horse. It's gonna take some work. They have to raise a horse with Bran, something like that. Yeah, and that's that scene. And then Tyrion prepares to leave, and not Tom, sees him off. So the look-alike. And then they subtly insult each other for a while. Tyrion asks where Catelyn is. Catelyn. Not Tom says she's not feeling well and couldn't come out, and Tyrion doesn't buy it. He's just like, no, she's not here. You're lying. And Tyrion makes fun of not Tom for being a squire for his former enemy, so we get some backstory on him. And then he throws money at his face and tells him to go buy a prostitute before riding out. And then I got one more scene before I take a break. Back at the White Wall, the boys are training again, just like they always do. Jon is teaching these fools, and the Reginald, what's his name, Alistair, the drill sergeant guy, brings in a new guy that looks like JonTron. Somebody out there understood that.
He does!
This guy...
Oh, that's so true.
He is like overweight and sucks at everything, and so does the guy in the show. No, I'm just kidding. The guy, he's like a big overweight guy that looks very shy, and he's bad. He gets beaten up immediately. Like the drill sergeant like throws him into the middle of the little hazing circle they always have, and another I don't know any of their names. I forget who does this, but he gets beat up by some guy with his sword. The training, is it a real sword or a training sword? I don't know. He's wearing armor, so he's not getting like stabbed, at least. Jon steps up for him. Alistair makes some oh yeah. Okay, so the drill sergeant is like, all right, Jon, you want to like defend him? Then I'm gonna make these two guys that you've been teaching and beating up constantly, I'm gonna make them fight you. And so, yeah, they try to, he's like, you guys get through Jon and then beat up that guy after you get through Jon. And they're like, we can't, what are you talking about? So they immediately get their asses kicked. Like Jon, I'm pretty sure he like uppercuts one of them in the nuts at some point. It's not like a playful fight. They go down, they yield. The word yield is thrown around a lot. I yield. Reginald leaves, or Alistair leaves. I called him Reginald in my notes. So after he leaves, everyone just, I guess, chills. The new guy's name is Sam, and Jon and the other idiot guy ask why he didn't defend himself. And he's like, I suck at everything. I don't know. And then he walks away. And now the idiot guys are afraid that they're going to be bullied because they were seen talking to Sam. It's very like high schooly.
I do have a quick comment. We cannot call Samwell JonTron because I cannot handle having JonTron and Jon Snow and trying to keep track of who we are talking about.
No, it's so true, dude. When I wrote, like later when I had Jon written down, I was like, wait, is it JonTron again or is it Jon? Like,
right.
But yeah, it's Sam. I only called him that one time, so.
Okay. Moving forward, it is Sam. Yeah, I have a question for you guys. Do you guys think that Tyrion actually cares about Bran and cripples and bastards and broken people? Or do you think he has some ulterior motive?
I think he probably has some. I mean, it seems like he's always doing things to benefit himself somehow. So I'm sure there's an ulterior motive, but I'm sure he has some sort of like soft spot for. I mean, I think he straight up says like, I have a soft spot for cripples and small people like me, or whatever. I don't know, people that are at a disadvantage.
I am not commenting with against knowledge because truthfully, I don't remember like 80% of Game of Thrones. But whenever Tyrion says something, I'm always like, is he genuine? I guess he always is genuine, right? He's never lied. I don't think he speaks in like double tongue, but I don't know if we've ever seen him be straight up duplicitous. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with he
I think
does
he's-
care.
I think he's trying to help out. Like that is a genuinely like helpful thing. If anything, like the only thing he's got the way it's gonna help him is like later if Bran becomes like a really strong warrior or something.
Hey,
he'll have his back.
that's true.
Yeah. Well, I also think that Tyrion has some, he has some common sense at this point, and he's far away from home, or at least King's Landing, where he's, lived for a while. And so, how else is he going to navigate the terrain with just a handful of Lannister guards beside him? Like, he needs to pivot himself and be a little political. So it's kind of to his benefit to try and make good with these highborns that can give him shelter or provide him something. Or
But also we get a view of like what Tom or Rob is like as when he's in charge. He's definitely a lot different than Ned. He seems like a lot scarier than like Ned as a ruler. So I don't know if that's there's definitely like he does not seem like a nice. It almost looks like Tyrion's on trial weirdly, like when in that one.
He seems like he's got.
Uh-huh.
He has the air of someone who is trying to prove his worthiness in that place, whereas Ned Stark, he's been there, done that. Like he doesn't have to prove anything.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
I mean, Tom's just like he's a young idiot with a lot of power now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I also like the note that Dave said just a second ago. It feels like a trial. It feels different. This is the Hall of Winterfell that we're in at this point, and it's in contrast to the Hall of King's Landing. You just have the Iron Throne, which is huge, and it's very important. But in the Hall of Winterfell, there's a table that joins the seated, higher people up on this chain. He doesn't have a throne necessarily.
Yeah.
So there's again more union, at the table.
Yeah, it's basically a mess hall. It's like the same place everybody eats. I'm pretty sure this is the same room in like episode 2 where Tyrion is talking to Jaime and them in that one. He's like, root beer, give me a root beer.
When we are at, oh my goodness gracious, what is it called? What's the north? Oh no, guys, where's Jon Snow at? What's that place
the
called?
White Wall?
The wall?
Thank you. When we're over there, I just wrote down a couple notes. The first is that the sadism on display there is worrying to me. I mean, Dave, you described it as feeling very high school, but these guys reveled in beating the shit out of Samwell. That's scary. Why?
Yeah, they immediately pounce on this guy. Like, yeah.
Like they were just waiting for it. I mean, it's quite literal sadism. They're reveling in causing this man physical pain. And
okay, now we are back with the Dothraki. They're on the move again. It looks like they're just walking through the grassy hills of Hollywood. But no. They're on the move. This time they're led by Khal Drogo. He's like very far ahead. They've made it to the outskirts of Vaes Dothrak. It's either a city or town of the Horse Lords. And Viserys he's not walking. He's riding a horse alongside Daenerys and Mormon. And he's complaining, calling the Dothraki savages. And he's still saying, but it is my army. Just letting you all know, my army. And they continue riding. In the next scene, they're still riding. Daenerys asks Mormon if the Dothraki could actually beat Robb if it came down to it. And Mormon talks about how Ned Stark... Oh, I didn't write down what he said. So maybe someone else can fill that in later. Mormon talks about how Ned Stark wants his head, him being himself Mormon. What's his name? Jorah Mormon. He admits to selling slaves because he had no money and he had an expensive wife. And she's in another place with another man now. And then We've made it into town. Viserys is in a bathtub with Prosy. It's a prostitute woman. I don't think she has a name, so.
Oh no.
Her name's Prosy. She's the same one that taught Daenerys the sex strats. She's washing his chest, and they're talking about dragons. Viserys says men didn't kill dragons, but rode them. A dragon's breath was used to forge the Iron Throne. And then Prosy says she really wants to see a dragon. It's like not even a euphemism. It's like, I want to see a dragon. And then she pours like hot wax on his chest. And she talks about the different types of people she's seen throughout her career. I just need to say, she looking good in this scene.
Yes, I agree.
Viserys admits the dragons are gone. They are actually gone now. They died long before he was born. And then they get it on. But she keeps asking about dragons while the getting on is going. And this angers Viserys. I mean, she says some other stuff too. And then he deduces that Prosy might be the reason for Daenerys's sudden change in attitude and demeanor. That's what I don't know, maybe that's not what he deduced, but he's like, okay, maybe she's teaching Daenerys some stuff that I don't want her to be teaching her. And then he kind of yells at her, but then they still continue the old Tokyo Sandblaster. And it's awkward because Viserys just sits there expressionless while she continues hula hooping on him. And then now we're back in the King's Landing hall with the Iron Throne. Sansa and is it Old Nan? No, it's not. It's not. It's somebody else. The nun they were having lunch with in the last episode. And she's not. I don't know what she is. They talk about Sansa becoming queen one day, and she's worried about what if she only has girls instead of she has no boys that can carry on the kingship. And I forget, they say a lot of boring stuff that's whatever. They get into a little spat. Sansa begins to leave, but the nun nanny is like, remember your lessons? Who built the throne? And then Sansa's like, Aegon the Conqueror. I guess that's the dragon. And then who built the Red Keep, which I don't know what that is. Maegor the Cruel. So I just wrote that stuff down because maybe it's stuff we need to know later. I don't know. And they keep talking about her uncle being murdered in this hall. And Sansa hates Ned because he killed her wolf. And that concludes chapter 2. What do you guys have to say about those scenes?
I completely forgot until I watched that scene that Sansa was upset at her father for being the one to carry out murdering, that's the word we're going to use, Lady, the wolf. And in the last episode, there was that whole scene where Ned showed up and he gave her a doll and he threw an attitude about it. And we were like, oh man, what a uncomfortable interaction. But I completely forgot that there was this whole emotional through line in the background where she upset at him.
True, yeah. Honestly, me too. I forgot that for the entire last episode. I also want to say, I forgot to mention this earlier, when it opens with Bran walking around doing archery, I forgot his legs were busted.
Did you forget?
Yeah, I was just like, oh, cool, he's back into the archer. He's still doing the archery thing. Nice.
I think I do not like Sansa at this point. I mean, I get where you're coming from with the points, and I just think that she's kind of self-pitying right now. She has an opportunity to make the difference, and especially when she's trying to get the Septa. Her name is Septa Mordain. And as a Septa, that's a title. So she is technically a nun, but a nun for the 7 gods. Nice. But as she's listening to her lessons, she interrupts her. So there's this edge that's included in Sansa right now that is kind of I don't know. It seems to be a little.
Oh, I don't blame you.
I can't familiarize with it. I mean, I can because I've been, everybody's had that point. Oh, my parents, but
Yeah.
they're so far away. She's kind of isolating herself, and I'm
No,
like,
you're making a valid point. It's in a show full of characters who start off with no power and then gain confidence, gain wisdom. She is not at this moment. She's not stepping up.
Oh, there was something about her outfit that I really enjoyed, because in the first episode, he's wearing this, and she's still wearing the same color, and it might be the same dress, but it's like a bluish, like a very, very bluish sort of dress, and it's getting modified little by little, to where, the coat has been taken off since season 1, but also she's sporting the tiny little dragonfly necklace, and her hair is no longer in this big braid. It makes her stand out in terms of, like, she wants to be different in the way that she wants to escape Winterfell, and she wants to be outside of that frame.
I like how her way of rebelling is wearing, like, in real life it would be she wears, like, black clothing, but because everyone in the show already wears, like, grays and browns, her way of rebelling is wearing really bright clothing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. Also, I don't know if they did this. This is just a fun fact about costuming, but I was watching behind the scenes for the One Piece live action Netflix show recently. I swear this is going to tie in.
Oh my god, we should. I want to. Never mind. Keep going.
We should review that show?
I love that show.
Oh, I love that show so much. Oh my god. Can we stop this podcast?
Yeah, we're canceling this podcast. We're switching to that now.
Excellent. Okay, but so I was watching a behind the scenes for One Piece, the live action show, where they were costuming the guy that played Mihawk. And if any of the viewers have never seen One Piece, that's not a problem. All you need to know is that Mihawk is it's
like an overpowered
big, tough,
like bounty hunter guy with a six-pack and a cool beard.
Right, and the six-pack is the important part of this. This is the tie-in, because they were costuming him, and as part of it, though that the actual actor is IRL very physically fit, the costumers would spray paint his body to emphasize the abs. And so, whenever I see Jason Momoa in Game of Thrones and he's walking around with his abs, and his abs are just very, very, very visually compelling. There's a lot of contrast. I always wondered, did they spray paint?
Oh, I'm always surprised at how, I'm sure they did. There's definitely like makeup involved, but I'm actually always surprised at how like not muscular he is actually. Like if you go back and start taking screenshots, like he's just got like a regular body. He's just like pretty thick. It's not like the like the superhero chiseled look that we think he has. Like, I swear to God, it's like he's not that chiseled. But yeah, I mean, every time I'm taking these screenshots, and I take a lot, he's definitely in shape, but it's very like real. It's definitely not to the Mihawk level, I guess.
Right.
Okay. All right. Are we good to move on to chapter 3? All right. We're in the Last Supper room. The council room, where Uncle Fester is. Ned is is having a meeting with Littlefinger and the gang. They're talking about the upcoming jousting tournament. The head of the City Watch is, I guess that's what I'm calling him, the like policeman guy, is giving him the lowdown on the city is kind of like overcrowded right now because a lot of tourism is coming in for the tournament, and he's like, yeah, people are being like stabbed and stuff, and like crimes are being committed. And Ned's like, Peter, give him 50 men. And Peter's like, what? And he's like, yeah, if you can find like $1 billion for the tournament, you can find a gabillion more to pay these 50 guys, policemen. And, Uncle Fester does say one thing. He's like, the realm prospers when lots of people come. And basically, like, tourism is good for the city, basically, is what he's saying. And then the meeting is adjourned. But Ned holds Old Man Marley behind, the mage, whatever, maester. It's a hot day. Dude, it looks so hot. I feel so bad for these people. But yeah, Old Man Marley, sweating. He's wearing a full freaking wool gown. Ned wants to talk to him about John Aaron the night before he died. And, like, Marley is like... Marley says he asked about a book. And then Ned's like, can I see the book? And then it's a book about the lineage of the 7 kingdoms. They go into... What's this guy's name? Marley?
Pycelle. Meister Pycelle.
Oh, Meister Pice. Maester Pice.
Maester Pycelle, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they go into his potion room. He's got like I'm guessing he has like magical, he's some sort of like alchemist guy. There's potions all over this room they go into.
Yeah.
It looks cool. It's like a Skyrim room. Yeah, he gives him the book. It's about the lineage of the 7 kingdoms. Also, he says John Aaron repeated one thing the night before he died, and he kept saying, the seed is strong. Ned thinks John died via poison, and Ned is like, poison is a woman's poison. And then Ned leaves. And Old Man Marley's like, God damn, it's hot as balls in here. But yeah, so maybe I don't know. I think they're trying to put it in our head that maybe it was what's her name? Cersei that maybe killed John Aaron. All right, next scene. Ned walks back to his whatever. He's walking somewhere. He comes across Arya balancing on one foot at the top of a flight of steps. And this is like Sirio's training recommendation for her. And tomorrow she'll be chasing cats. Sirio he's not in this episode, but he's like the Spanish Adam Sandler swordsman guy that trains Arya at the end of the last episode. So go watch that podcast. They talk for a little bit. She asks about Bran, and she's like, he can't be a knight anymore. And then Arya asks if maybe she can be a lord one day. And Ned's like, nah, you'll be like a princess. And she's like, that ain't me, cuh. And then she goes back to her balancing on one leg.
Perfect.
And that's the end of that scene.
Perfect impression.
Back on the White Wall. It's nighttime. John is standing watch on top of the wall. What's he gonna do? On top of the wall, Sam comes up and Sam comes up and joins him, and he's like, I've been assigned to you. I'm your new partner. And Sam is afraid of heights. He can barely see, and he can't fight. And Sam says basically his dad, he's there because his dad gave him the choice to either join the Watch or be killed. And the method in which he was going to be killed was he was going to be let loose in a jungle and hunted by his dad.
Jesus.
That's how I read that.
God.
And no, I think it was like he was like, we'll go on a hunt one day, and you'll accidentally tumble off a cliff, and that's what we'll tell people. We'll come home with a really
I thought he
big
was going to get
roast.
hunted by his dad.
No, I think, well, that's what I thought. I was like, well, damn, they're going to like set him loose and go like, yeah, the world's most dangerous game style on him or whatever.
And then Sam says that his dad would rejoice in telling his mother what happened.
Yes.
Nice.
So not only would he hunt and kill him, but he would be very happy to. But that might just be something a dad says to his kid after being. I don't know if he would actually do it, but I would like to. In this universe, though, it's totally possible he meant exactly that. So it's dark, and yeah, that's the end of that. And they're, I don't know. John makes a little joke. He's kind of tries to cheer him up a little bit. John's a good leader in this episode. And that's the end of those. That's the end of chapter 3. What do you guys have to say about Arya balancing on one foot? Or tell me about Uncle Fester.
Arya rules.
Also. Your love for Uncle Fester.
Arya
Let's
rules,
hear
man.
it.
I don't have anything to say about Uncle Fester. I just like his vibe. I like the way he talks. I like the way he dresses. Seems like he would host good parties.
He's very creepy right now. He's just soft. He gives a little smile and nod to Ned. And I don't think Ned acknowledges, like, even Littlefinger does that. They're both being creepy. Like, what's going on here? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I literally... I wrote in my notes, I literally wrote, everyone feels so duplicitous.
Oh, yeah.
Scene.
Yeah, that scene with the small council, there's so many things going on. The reactions that even Sean Beam displays as Ned Stark are just kind of like, oh, he's having trouble, realizing what's going on, just same way I am when I'm watching this. But I had a note here. Hold on a second.
No problem. Should we fill for time?
No.
We'll cut this out.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say that I wanted to like I really like the lighting in the small council scene because it's highlighting all the little details of their costumes and stuff, like even the pendants that they wearing, like Ned Stark's little hand and then Littlefinger's little bird, and these details that you wouldn't really notice at first. If you went back and did a rewatch, you'd see them. Even the little necklace that Sansa has, the little dragonfly, like something about the camera and the lighting is working so well to capture these details, even the textures in the clothing. And I think they put a lot of time and effort into that, and it really shows.
Yeah,
but nothing is upstaged. Yeah,
definitely a like Vermeer painting looking scene, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know. That's the only one that comes to mind. Always the light shining through a window onto a wall, onto a map behind them. Well, it's a tapestry of some kind. That's very Vermeer for you artists out there. Yeah. Vermeer.
Yes, we're my artist side.
Everybody.
But if it's a different, if they're referencing a different artist, though, I'd be interested in know. That's just the one that comes to mind for me. But
yeah.
I was frustrated with
the Vermeer choice.
I was. Yes. Oh, it makes me so angry. No, I was frustrated with Ned Stark in this scene. Comes across as bizarrely naive. Like, I think I wrote in my notes, Ned, can you be more obvious? And then I added, oh my gosh, he just straight up said it. Because he was, like, tiptoeing around the idea that maybe the former Hand of the King was murdered, which seems like a dangerous conspiracy to just let loose in the wild. And then he just says it. He's like, I think he was poisoned. He was murdered. I don't know. It feels so unwise to me. He's going around.
Oh, I don't know.
Huh?
I think he just says maybe he was poisoned. It's not just like he was.
Well, they talk about poison being a woman's. That's like part of the dialogue is like poison being a woman's weapon.
They said women, criminals, and eunuchs. All
yes.
Oh, they did.
All equal categories.
Which
Uncle
was
Fester. Okay.
Which was what
I actually missed.
Also,
that part,
why I like this.
So I was just gonna say. So they're implicating like 3 people possibly.
Right. Exactly. It's a lot. And when he's talking to this old man, I don't. What's the old man's name? Talking to
Maester Pice.
Maester Pice.
Maester Peister.
Like, no. I don't know about you guys, but Maester gave me he gave me sinister vibes. He feels.
Oh, I don't know.
You know, Ned Stark is like. What you were the last person to the right hand. You were the last person, and what did he say to you? I don't know, man. I just thought this is clumsily handled.
I think it's Maester Pycelle's. Oh God, I just had a word. It's his initial response to Ned Stark that demonstrates a little bit of his insecurity, because Ned Stark is like, why did he want to talk to you? And he's like, well, because I'm a Meister. I have been here for however many years. I've served so many kings. But then Ned is just like, no, what was he?
Yes.
He says something in regards to what he meant, and then the Meister's like, oh, you just wanted to know what he was talking about. So there's a little insecurity that he has that comes off as sinister or kind of
I think you nailed
defensive.
Oh.
It's very defensive, and so I like that. But then when they're talking, and you get a little bit of that same insecurity, but a bit of racism, which I think fits with King's Landing. Like, Maester Pycelle is now an image for what it means to live so long in King's Landing and adapt, that this is what you eventually become. You're rooted in these elements of cynicism and whatever that influence you. And not that he needs to go for the throne. He might not have any ambitions for that. I don't know. But yeah, the city does influence that, and I think he's kind of a foil or just an example of that influence.
Well, I just need to say, I think you guys are reading way too much into these scenes. I think Ned was just he's frustrated at the council because he doesn't want to be there, and then he just has some questions about Jon. That's really all that's happening in these scenes.
I think I like your take on it.
It was a quick aside scene to further the story along, but.
No, the reason I feel this way is because, we talked about how in the first couple episodes, when the closer you get to the king, the more the threat of death reveals itself, and that everybody around the king is kind of walking on eggshells, making sure that they say exactly the right thing, because they're aware that at any time anything could get them killed. And then Ned Stark is over here just throwing out conspiracies of murder. I don't know, man.
He's very blatant about it.
I didn't get any sinister vibes. I didn't get any sinister vibes from Maester Pyce, though. I think I think he's on Ned's side. He's Team Ned.
I think JoJo nailed it for me. Because defensive is probably the much better word. He just was so immediately defensive.
I feel
and
there was
for me,
no defensive tone at all in
this
scene.
No!
At all, zero. But
well, yeah, it's just in that dialogue where Ned is like, "Why did he want to speak to you?" And he's like, "Because I'm a freaking Meister. That's why."
Because I'm a motherfucking Meister.
With his chains and all, dude. His chains and all.
If he said that.
Yeah.
And then also, okay, he's already established that he's super hot. He actually does. He's like, it's really hot. So maybe his defensive. If there is any defensiveness, which there is none, by the way, but if there is any, he might just be uncomfortable because it's super hot and he's forced to wear these layers of clothing.
He's cranky and old. Once again, an influence of the environment affecting his choices.
Well, and I don't know.
But yeah,
it's hot right now. Right now, it's 95 degrees in my room, so I know exactly what he felt like.
God.
Is that why you're so cranky and defensive, Dave? Oh, God.
So let's move on to Chapter 4. We're back in King's Landing. Ned and Littlefinger are, I guess they're just walking around town. They're just out for a little stroll around town or around the, I don't know.
The garden.
The garden.
It's the garden.
Okay. Littlefinger just points out a bunch of basically spies laid out. He's like, that one's Varys's over there. Uncle Fester is Varys. I'm learning. And then there's one from the Queen. And then Peter has one himself as well. He's got a few spies. So everyone's got spies, just checking people out. Peter also lets him in on a little intel about Jon Arryn in the weeks leading up to his death. He visited the armorer quite frequently. So maybe Ned should go talk to the armorer. So that's what he's going to do. But in the next scene, we're at the site of the tournament. Creed Guy, I think his name is Jory. But Guy from Creed, the band, is sent to deliver a message to Serhu, one of the knights participating in the tournament. He's doing little weird, I don't know, he's measuring out the field with his legs. I don't know. He looks like he's discount Logan Paul, this guy. It's like a tall drink of water. He looks like if you pricked him with a needle, milk would pour out of him. But anyway, he's a little standoffish because Creed Guy isn't a knight, so he's like, I don't want to talk to you then. You're not a knight. I don't want to talk to you. So Creed Guy isn't able to deliver his message. He goes back to Ned. He's like, I couldn't, sorry, he was the dick. I couldn't talk to him. And Ned's like, okay, whatever. And then they go into the armorer. They meet a boy. They're calling him a boy, but this dude looks like he's 43 years old. And he asks him a bunch. He looks like he's 43, and he looks like Jean-Claude Van Damme. Ned asks him a little bit about Jon Arryn, about whenever he came to visit. And the 43-year-old boy said they would just talk about work and his mom, the 43-year-old's mom. And then Ned deduces that this kid, this 43-year-old kid, is Rob's long-lost son. And that's pretty much it. That's all he finds out at the armory, and then he leaves with Creed Guy. And then, in the next scene, outside of Rob's room, Jaime stands watch while Rob is getting down with 50 women inside or something. Creed Guy comes by. He's got another message for Rob. He's just delivering messages today. He has something to deliver to Rob, but he can't go in because the action happening. Jaime is pissed because he has to stand there and listen to Rob basically cheat on his sister. And it also turns out Jaime and Creed Guy fought side by side once together, and Jaime doesn't remember him at all. And then they share the little battle story. It was a lengthy battle. He should have remembered him basically, but it was they had a lengthy fight together, side by side. They weren't against each other. But and then Creed Guy tries to leave his message with Jaime so he can give it to Rob later. And Jaime's like, I hate Lord Stark. And so once again, Creed Guy, unable to deliver his message, and he leaves. And that's the end of chapter 4. The
scene where Homelander's standing in front of the doorway where King Baratheon is. Oh my gosh, the dialogue happening in the other room, it sounded like the actors were having so much fun.
Yeah. Especially Rob's dialogue. Yeah.
Yes, he was like, you smell of blackberry jam.
Yeah.
It had me rolling.
Yeah, I mean, that actor I think he is a comedic actor usually outside of the show. So I bet they were just like, yeah, just say some shit. I don't know. They probably just had him improv there,
Oh man.
Yeah, he's definitely not a jack of all trades, but he's done quite a bit because he's done a lot of Shakespearean stuff online.
Oh, cool.
That I've seen, and he's really good, really versatile.
It's always those Shakespearean actors that are the best. Like Picard, good old
Picard, Ian McKellen, Anthony Hopkins, Maggie Smith, Judi Dench. Anyways, I kind of wanted to talk about the shot at the beginning of this chapter. You saying the garden. The garden's an important setting point for the story. You know, a lot of interesting dialogue and things are going to happen here. And so you get the first shot of it, and it's kind of not barren, but there are patches of it that, you know, are being tilled and exposed, that are currently exposed. And so I'm not sure if the visual itself is an indicator of anything, but that's gonna change over time as we revisit the garden.
Cool.
And I kind of liked that. So I'm gonna keep an eye out on that one. But also, there was something that happens in the garden between their. Let's see, there were dialogue.
What do they do? Are they just? They're just walking. They're just like kind of out walking. Like, do we know?
Yeah, just taking a walk.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wrote for this scene. I wrote, Littlefinger looks like he should be an old-timey baseball radio host. Got the face for it.
He's very much like he could be in Mortal Kombat the movie.
Right.
The first one. And also, I always just love. I know it's like an acting, or it's probably just like a camera thing, but they're walking so close together. So close. Like I noticed they're taking screenshots, but yeah, it's
their
just
arms are touching.
Yeah,
it's like I don't like to walk that close to, and I like to walk with a lot of people, but
just one dude. Yeah, not one dude. I don't want to look like gay. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh no, guys.
But I think here's a notion to pass by this, is that I think the garden itself, as they're going through and he's describing like, oh, that is the queen's spy, that is my spy, that is Varys' spy. The garden in itself becomes this element of this like this deceptive element, and this element of like hidden nature, like the hidden nature of their ambitions and, you know, everything that's going on. And I think, does Littlefinger say something about trusting him in this one? He's like, not trusting me was the best thing you've done since you got at King's Landing, I think.
Yeah. Ned is like, I'm sorry to have distrusted you earlier, and he's like, yeah, what you just said.
Right. And so trust is a big issue, I think, in this particular episode. But I don't know. I kind of like that. And then with like him meeting or him sending. Oh, that's it. Littlefinger tells Ned, like, who do you trust? You know, tell somebody that you trust to go and find this kid. And so he sends Jory Cassell, who's what did you call him?
Creed guy, lead singer of Creed.
Yeah, Creed guy. Yeah. He sends him to meet who we find out eventually is, well, who Ned suspects is Robert Baratheon's bastard son. But he says something interesting. He's talking about his mother and says that his mother died early on and that she had yellow hair and would sing to him sometimes. And I don't know. That's just, to me, I was like, okay, I'll make a note of that.
If somebody pointed out there was spies everywhere, especially in that garden, I would never go back to that garden,
oh my God.
First of all. And then also I would step further away from him, because I'd be like, oh, they're gonna spread the word that we're gay around town.
No,
that's the information they're gathering right now.
They might as well have been holding hands. You know, nothing wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong
might
with
as
that.
well.
Chapter 5. We're back at the White Watch. In the barracks, they're doing a little more hazing drills. The bully guy is being pitted against Sam. Oh, wait, I missed a scene. My bad. Okay, we're back at the Night Watch. John sits down in the mess hall with his two bro. I call them his punching bags. His two bros. They're making fun of Sam, and John's like, "Hey guys, that's not cool. We need to chill on Sam." And then they're like, "Okay, whatever. You're gonna punch us." But the guy sitting behind them is like, "Oh, I'm gonna keep bullying him, and I'm gonna eat him like bacon," or he says something like that. And then,
yeah, he is.
And then they go back to eating. Later that night, the bully guy's sleeping. They sneak up on him, put a gag in his mouth, and then have John's wolf snarl at him, and they're basically just like, leave him alone. And John's like, no one touches Sam. And I guess that works. That's all it takes for this guy to stop, because the next day in the yard, they're doing their little hazing drills again. Bully guy is pitted against Sam. It looks like the drill is, let's all beat up Sam one at a time or whatever. But bully guy, who was threatened the night before, is just, they're just not even acting. He could at least like acted like they were fighting, but he just stands there and does nothing. He's like, I can't fight him, sorry. And he barely gets tapped and like goes down. And then the drill sergeant kind of, he like understands what's happening. He's like, he walks up to John and he's like, this is stupid. What do you think this is funny? You're all gonna die. And then he walks away. That's the end of that scene. And then, now we're in the Dothraki camp. Viserys is dragging Prosy to Daenerys' tent by the hair, and he gets in Daenerys' face about trying to give him orders through Prosy or whatever. And he also mocks a gift that Daenerys is gonna give him later. He's like, this sucks! And then he slaps her in the face, and she falls to the ground. And then I guess it looks like he's about to like mount her. I don't know. I don't want to say the R word.
He says, you've woken the dragon. That's what he says.
And then in more ways than one. And then Daenerys hits him in the face with like a metal necklace or something, and it like scratches his face, and he backs down, and Daenerys is like, if you touch me again, I'll eat your hands. Or no, it'll be like the last time you have hands or whatever. She threatens him. And then the scene cuts. I would like to like imagine they just like stand there awkwardly for a little bit afterwards. But the scene cuts away, and now we're back in the Night Watch mess hall. John and Sam are scrubbing the tables. I guess it's either they're being punished or it's just their time, their turn to do it. They take turns, maybe. They talk about hot anime titty women, and Sam's like, I've never peed on one before. John's like, neither have I. And John talks.
That's what they said.
And then John talks.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they're talking about. John talks about a time he almost peed on Ross, who is a prostitute in Winterfell, but he couldn't go through with it because he was like, what if I get her pregnant, and then that's a bastard child or whatever. That's all, you just a whiner about being a bastard all the time. We find out his name is Snow because he's a bastard from the north. I don't know. And he'd never known, I would have much rather have not known how he got that name. I don't know. I hate it when people explain how they got their names. And then he never knew his mother, basically. Sam's talking trash the whole time. He's like, you don't know how to pee on women. And then they get in a little playful slap fight. And then the drill sergeant walks in. And we'll end that chapter there. So technically that scene goes on, but I cut it into 2 scenes. So do you guys have anything to say about Sam peeing on women? Kit?
Yes. In one of the last episodes, Lady Stark says something along the lines of, "You think me a back alley Sally?"
Oh yeah.
And in this episode, Sam says to Jon Snow, "Have you ever had a Sally on the side?"
Oh, a piss willy silly. Sorry, I'm going with the P
Sally?
thing. Sorry.
A Sally on the side.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for any woman named Sally in this universe.
Oh yeah, does the name? I guess the name Sally does have to exist in this universe.
Yeah.
And also the name Roz. Like, who is this Roz they keep talking about? You know, it's like Tyrion and Theon mentioned her at the beginning, and he was like, "I'll try not to wear raw," or like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Tyrion throws a coin at Theon. He's like, "I'll try not to wear her out." And then Jon Snow and is talking to Sam, and he's like, "Oh, her name was Roz. You know, she's clearly of the North."
Yeah, she's like an Omega
Apparently,
level.
she's epic.
Omega level
Yeah,
prostitute.
she's epic.
Everybody knows
Gotta
her.
meet
Right.
Everyone pees on her.
Everybody knows her. But cutting to the cutting to the part where Viserys is dragging that lady into the camp.
Right.
I think that I'm glad that you pointed out the dialogue of Robert Baratheon saying his funny stuff. Like, what is it? He smells what now?
I bet you smell of blackberry jam.
Blackberry jam. Dude, this episode is so good about painting the settings with smells. Like, in the King's Landing, you're all of a sudden, like, listening to Robert and talk about blackberry jam, and here you have Viserys in contrast, and he's like, these robes that you gave me, they smell like horse manure, you know?
Oh, true.
And so it's something that I hadn't like really registered until just now. It's like, oh, okay, I've not seen an episode that like kind of not focuses on it, but emphasizes the aspects of smells in this environment. And then when he was talking about when we were in the first episode, and he was like, man, it must smell terrible there. I think this kind of answers that question, or that question of like, what does it smell like here? So there's a vast array of different aromas going on that create Westeros.
I
don't know. That was just a weird little observation.
No, that's a good sign of just, I think, good writing, because they also, a lot of books never talk about how stuff smells. Or I also just like how that guy mentioned it was hot, like he's feeling hot or whatever, just so we get a sense of like the temperature as well. So
yeah, because those are things we all can experience as a viewer, aside from like giving visual cues.
I have a question for you, Dave. They keep mentioning the wildlings. What do you think the wildlings are like?
Oh, I mean,
You have a visual in your head?
I think they're just like, I may have mentioned it before. I think they're just like feral people, maybe, that just like live in the, like, they're humans, but they live in the woods. Basically, they're just like homeless people.
When you say feral, do you mean like they're otherwise well-educated and normal people, they just live in the woods? Or do you mean they're like non-verbal, almost zombie-like?
That's a good question. I don't think they're well-educated, but I also don't think they're non-verbal. I just think they're like tribesmen or whatever. Like in the way, like maybe like Dothraki, maybe. I don't know. Like just a tribal nomadic group, basically, is what I picture.
Gotcha. Being a Dothraki, not to go backwards, but we totally skipped over the fact that the Dothraki just arrived at their city. Like, we were talking about whether or not they're nomadic, but at the beginning of this episode, they arrive at an established city.
They call it a city, but if you look at the screenshot of it, it's a small town with like a handful of tents. I mean, it's more than that. It's definitely like 50 tents. But yeah, like I don't know, when I think city, I think of like, I don't know, structures and stuff. But
all right, chapter 6.
Oh, okay. Okay, wait, hold on. Chapter 6. We're still in the same scene. We're still in the mess hall with Sam and John, and what's his face? Alistair, the drill sergeant, walks in, and he's like, "You guys are stop being gay." No, he tells them a time. He's like, "You guys are being too soft, and like you shouldn't be soft on this guy," because he talks about a time when he went out for a 2-week like watch or patrol in the woods that ended up being 6 months because they were supposed to capture a wildling guy from some, I don't know, warlord guy, some I don't know. But a storm came in, and the wildlings know the area better than they do, so they obviously they do. They live there. But they knew to hide from the storm, and then Alistair's group wasn't prepared for that. They got stuck out in the storm. It was also a storm so strong it like ripped trees out of the ground. And it was also pitch black too. So they got messed up. They ended up getting stuck out there for 6 months. Their horses ended up dying, and they ate them to survive. And then some of the men died, and then they ate them too. And then he says, in a couple of weeks, some new recruits will enter this barracks they're in right now, and then John and the other guys being trained right now will move on to their actual night watch posts or whatever. And he's like, you guys aren't going to be ready, and you're probably going to die. Or he basically, he does say, like, you're going to die. Which I have more to say about that. I guess I'll wait. Back in the Dothraki camp, this is just a quick scene. Daenerys is talking to Mormon about how she hit Viserys. She's like, oh my god, I hit the dragon. Oh my god. And then over the course of this conversation, Daenerys goes from being like, Viserys is the true king and all the people are waiting for his return. I don't know if she's saying that like facetiously, because she follows that up with like, my brother sucks and he'd never be able to take the throne back even if he had an army. It's like literally the next sentence. So that's it. That's that scene. Next scene, we are at the tournament. It's go time. King's Landing, tournament time. And when I say tournament, it's like a jousting, like 2 knights joust each other. I don't know if it's ever established it's to the death. But yeah, a crowd is sitting in the bleachers waiting for the festivities to start. We get a shot of like Robb Baratheon and his family, which is him. He's drinking. We got Malfoy sitting there. We got Cersei. We got these 2 other kids I totally forgot about. I forgot there's 2 other kids that are just, do we ever learn their names? Like, nobody gives a shit about these kids other than Tyrion in that second episode. So, and then the 2 knights facing each other are that budget Logan Paul and this giant dark black knight guy. He's not, his suit is black. And he's known as he's known as the Mountain. He's a big dude. Yeah. Big dude. But first, Sansa is like trying to like flash smiles to Joffrey from across the bleachers. Joffrey is like blatantly ignoring her. He like sees her and then like he like turns away. Littlefinger sits next to Sansa and Arya, and the nun is there too. Nanny, whatever. What's her name? Blister. They ask why people call him Littlefinger, and it's just because I think it feels like this is just a story he has ready for like children or whatever. I feel like he's called Littlefinger for a different reason. Maybe I'm wrong. But he says it's because when he was a child, he was just really small, and he came from a group of islands called the Fingers. So, and then Robb is like super drunk, and he's like, just start the damn tournament. Blah. And the 2 contestants are introduced. I already said it's Sir Gregor Clegane, also known as the Mountain. And then he's actually the Hound's like brother, older brother or younger, I don't know. Littlefinger tells Sansa he's the one who burned the Hound's face. Or I think I got some stuff mixed up. Okay, but I'm just gonna say this now. Yeah, he's the Hound's brother, and he's the reason he has that burn on his face. It's because he got mad at him one time and like held his face in some hot coals or something. So I feel like his brother, I feel like the Mountain is another like Hodor type. He's just like a big lumbering oaf that you can't stop. Maybe I'm sure we meet this guy later, but maybe that's why they had Hodor in this episode. I don't know. But anyway, okay, the tournament starts up. They joust it up, and at first, they make the first pass. Nothing really happens. They just kind of slap each other with their sticks, keep riding. Nothing happens. They're safe. On the second pass, Sir Hugh, or Budget Logan Paul, gets stabbed in the goddamn neck, and he falls to the ground, and he brutally bleeds out in front of Sansa and Arya, and everyone watches him just bleed out slowly right in front of them. And it's he's gagging up blood. He's it's a long process. And then he dies, and he's dragged away by two Ferengi from Star Trek. Because one of their silhouettes kind of looked like it when I first saw it. Anyway. And that's chapter 6.
I enjoyed the Ferengi little reference. That's funny.
I don't know. It's a stretch for sure, but I swear to God, there's at one angle, one of them looks like a Ferengi for 1 second.
Yeah.
So.
The notes on Jorah and Daenerys, I think that this is a very important scene for them because they're kind of building trust at this point. And I think this is a turning point for their dynamic where Daenerys kind of sees that she can rely on Jorah's what is it called when you give counsel? She kind of leans on him for some counsel here. And then when we get to the tournament, I'm again looking at the costumes and stuff, and I like the contrast that Sansa has now because Arya is still sporting her Winterfell stuff. And the same hairstyle again. And then Sansa's modified hers. Her outfit has got these roses on it and stuff. Very light. It feels very summery, very King's Landing-esque. And then she has a modified version of Cersei's hairdo.
What else? Oh, I wanted to mention Jon and Sam talking to the drill sergeant guy, Alistar. I don't know if that's his name. But why is he mad at it? All Jon's doing is protecting this dude. It's not Jon's a pretty good fighter too. So if anyone's not gonna die, it's him. He's clearly better than everybody else. Sam's probably gonna die. I'll be honest. Sam probably gonna die. He sucks. So
yeah. I don't like Sam at this point. But I think there's something that can be said about Alistar. He states, "Do you want when the I can't remember the exact quote, but it's when trouble comes or the winter comes or whatever. Do you want a boy standing next to you, or do you want a man at your back, kind of thing?" So he sees that Sam is he is the coward, and he stated it, and he can see that. He can read people pretty easily these days, I imagine, Mr. Alistair. And training, however many hundreds or thousands of Night Watchmen, he just I don't like this guy. He's kind of useless. He's not going to be able to protect anybody. And even when it comes to Jon Snow being good at sword fighting, he still sees how green Jon Snow is. And there's that I don't know, maybe that sort of backwards mentorship happening there, where he's I've got to break him so that way his this ego that he has with him, that's I'm the best, he keeps him from getting himself killed, because he's also going to have to rely on his brothers.
But I would say Jon, I feel like he should recognize a good leader when he sees one. Jon is not only a good fighter, but he's also he's teaching the other people to become better. Maybe not Sam, but Sam's a lost cause. But he's also encouraging them too. Whenever people are speaking down about themselves, especially Sam, Jon has a way of turning it around into something positive, which are qualities of a good leader. So,
I see what you're saying. You're saying Alistair should be able to recognize the aspects of a good leader in Jon.
Yeah, right? but I also do agree with you that he's just trying to be you do have to be hard too. You got to be strict sometimes as well.
Yeah.
But I think he's being a little over the top about it. I don't know. I don't think Sam's gonna get better with or without that. I don't know.
I think this is once again where the writing is pretty good, because like we saw Meister Pycelle and all those little elements of his character traits, and I think that was a direct influence of his environment. The same thing applies to Alistair, who has been at the wall so long that he's lost the aspects of tenderness and compassion and empathy, and is just purely about survival, because their numbers are also dwindling. They have even less resources than they've ever had, and this is the worst group of of guys that he's ever seen come into the watch, and he's like on the last leg of any kind of hope. So his sincerity is going to be stretched.
But he also looks like Will Ferrell. Like, he looks like he's never been outside ever at the same time. So I don't know. I wish he looked a little more hardened, maybe a little more scars or something.
But battle damaged.
Yeah.
maybe he should be balding or something, less hair, show the stress.
Missing an
does
eye.
look like Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell in that, like, I'm picturing Will Ferrell in that movie where he's like nobody saw this, but it's like he's a little league coach. Like, he lives in that type of like house. He lives next to like a famous football coach in a big house. But his story does help. I did like his story of how they got caught out in a storm for 6 months and had to eat horses and people. Like, that's fucking metal as shit right there. I can't wait to watch John having to eat Sam. I hope that's what they're alluding to. It was a good scene. It was a good scene. I like all these characters. I mean, Sam's probably going to die, but I do like what he brings to the table, at least.
Yeah, there's the opposing element that he brings to this world of harshness. He does have a bit of softness that allows him to connect with John or whatever, and they end up joking, and they're pretty chummy at this point. So yeah, he brings some value to the story, definitely. You know who also brings value to the story?
Ross.
Darth Vader.
Okay.
What?
Yes, Ross. Yes, she as well.
Oh,
no, I'm talking about the mountain. Like, if anybody had like visual imagery towards a big, terrifying
black dude
fighter.
First of all, Littlefinger tells Sansa the story like unprovoked. He just tells it to her, and then he's like, "Make sure you don't say that again, because the mountain will fucking kill you." It's like, thanks,
yeah,
dude,
right.
thanks.
Thanks a lot,
I didn't
man.
Know any of that, like, but I think so. To me, the picture they've painted, real quick, is he's like Hodor who can fight good, basically. All right, are we ready to move on?
Yes.
Chapter 7. All right, Ned is alone in his room during the tournament. Cersei stops by to visit. It looks like he's just studying the book. He has like the book open. He has the dragonbone dagger also. He's just doing some detective work. Cersei walks in and he's like, she's like, "I don't like you." No, I don't know. They talk. They chat for a little bit. Cersei says some stuff that could be summed up with, "I don't like you." And Ned's like, "That's cool. You kind of suck too." That's not what he says, but he says stuff that indicates that. and then he's also like, "I'm here because it's my job. I'm like a soldier." Or no, she's like, "You're basically a soldier. You just do what you say." And he's like, "Yeah." And then they talk.
Nope.
And then that's pretty much that scene. Cersei leaves. I think Cersei threatens violence on him subtly, but I don't know. And then in the next scene, we're at a little highway rest stop. Cat and Santa guy are in a, they're in like a Taco Bell. And Cat's in disguise, because obviously people can't know she's in disguise. Tyrion comes through, and he walks in immediately, just is this, demands everyone's attention. The innkeeper's like, we're full. We don't have a room for you. Sorry, dude. Lannister offers money to anyone who will give him their room. He's just like, "Anyone have a room? I have money." It's like one. He's holding up like a penny. But Saul Goodman volunteers, and I recognize this guy because he's the costume I'm wearing. right now. I'm wearing a costume. Look at me. Instantly, he like instantly sees Kat, even though she has her little hood on, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And Kat calls out a bunch of soldiers in the room. It's a crowded room. It's a mess hall. It's not a Taco Bell. But yeah, she recognizes a bunch of people sitting in there. They're all like soldiers that I don't know. And then she accuses Tyrion of conspiring to murder her and her son, and she orders them to like seize him. And scene. That's the end of the episode. That was Cripples, Bastards, and Broken Things. And let me just let me list out the important things that happened in this episode. Jon Snow gets an oafish partner and steps up to the challenge by befriending him and defending him from others, showing good leadership skills. Maybe not a plot point, but just more character development. The tournament happens, and then Kat arrests Tyrion. Those are pretty much the main things that happened in this. That's all I could come up with. There's not a lot happens. A lot happens, but not a lot plot-wise happens. So, yeah. Do you guys have anything? It was 2 scenes, but do you guys have anything to say about?
Yes, I thought it was really cool how when Tyrion enters the pub, I guess you could call it. He starts off by, I guess you could say, becoming the most, maybe captivating. I was going to say powerful, but I don't know if that's the right word. Captivating person in the room. I guess powerful in a kind of way. He's instantly loud, instantly draws attention to himself, instantly starts, proving his wit by trying to be clever. And then he starts throwing money around. They say they don't have a room. He immediately acquires one anyway, despite it. The scene starts off with him being the one in control. And then he recognizes Lady Stark, and oh no, look at him continuing to be in control. He's outing this person in disguise. But she stands up and has a style that's very different than his style, where instead of being loud and flashy and clever and throwing money around, he starts securing the loyalty of people around her through, like, I don't know, goodness. In other words, she's not securing loyalty.
Yeah, just by her, she knows her status, and then she knows by admitting, or she knows by showing these men that she knows them by name will probably mean a lot to them, because she's.
Yes.
It's like if Michelle Obama knew my name. I'd be like, cool. Oh, that's cool. I don't know. She follows my Instagram.
Will citizens arrest that man? I don't know. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's like Tyrion trying to gain control of the room. I don't think he's going in with this big power trip, right? Just his character. And then through I don't know if you could call it compassion, but familiarity. Through her own style, she very quickly turns the room against him. And I just thought that was really, really cool scene to cleanly demonstrate their different personalities. That was awesome.
I also just like how Tyrion's like, I don't know what's happening right now.
There's some neat visuals that you pointed out with the room of the hand of Ned Stark, and they have the book and the dagger. I forgot to mention this, but there was a line of dialogue that the Posey, I forget her.
Prosy.
The lady who was Posse, yeah. She said something about, I've seen many things, and she's talking to Viserys, and she's like, I've seen a man from a shy with a dagger made of real dragon glass, and I've seen a man who changes his face like he changes clothes, and a man who wears his weight in gold, It's just like these things, and in silk, and they're alluding to other things, and I'm thinking like, okay, well,
yeah,
Tyrion being charged with being the one, to do the stuff to Bran, he would have had to been in possession of the dagger, which means that he would have had to been in a shy and come across this whore, or is that not PC? That's probably it's possible though. He is a worldly traveler. He went to the Wall. He's been everywhere. If he's crossed the Narrow Sea, it's not been established. He does like to play around. He does like to sleep around. So who knows? The dagger, all those things. He might be in the wrong at this point. So Catelyn calling him out might be the right action. Yeah. Oh, and the inn that we're at this point. The inn is actually called the Inn at the Crossroads, and it's the same inn that we visit in episode 2, where David was like, "Where are we? Are we still in Winterfell?" That was actually the inn that Robert Baratheon and Cersei decreed that Lady B killed. Because then we see the Hound coming down that same path with the Butcher Boy's body. Right. In that shot of the opening. And so a lot of important things are going to happen at the inn. If the garden is a place where dialogue and deception occur, the inn is going to be a place where action and excitement happen, or at least something interesting that's going to flavor the story.
Anything else? What about, how do we feel about Cersei? I kind of glossed over what they talked about, so I don't really remember exactly what was said.
Yeah, that's a good bit of dialogue that's happening there. I can't believe we glossed over it, because I think that Cersei, in relation to what happens between Jaime and Ned, where they're going back and forth and having this verbal joust, and for myself, I think Ned walks away with those wins. I think Cersei gets this one up on Ned, because the last statement is, he's like, he looks at her, he's like, "I've been trained to kill my enemies," and she just looks at him and she's like, "So have I,"
Yeah.
And then she walks out and he's like, "Oh crap, what have I done?"
Why is she even in here to begin with? One of her spies must have said something. Like, we've seen Ned walking around with the fucking Jeff Goldblum. They're talking.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
You know what? It might be the one time where everyone else is at the tournament, and maybe even the spies are at the tournament. So like Varys and Littlefinger wouldn't have anybody that would readily, be attached to Ned at this point. So she can have a little quiet, isolated talk with him, and if somebody was to have seen her go into the room, they would have been like, "Why is she going to visit him?"
Oh, yeah.
And there would have been some intrigue in there of like, okay, he picked up this book. Now Cersei is visiting him, and they're talking about stuff. What's going on there? So I think it's important that she does visit him while the tournament is going on, because it's the only moment she can. She's very tactful at that point. I think she's demonstrating that same level of tact that he might with his like war abilities or whatever. I don't know.
All right, yeah. Why don't we go into our rating? Or did I miss any plot points that I said? Jon becomes a leader. Tournament happens. Cat arrests Bran, or Tyrion. I mean, Cat arrests Bran.
No, I think that's pretty much covers it.
All right, ratings. What do you? Let's start with JoJo this time. What are you rating this episode?
I will give this one a 7 out of 10. Yes, I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
And then what house? What house are you going with?
Oh, I am going to pick House Stark for this episode, for all of their troubles and for old Nan's sake.
All right. What do you got, Kit?
I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10 Sallies.
Hell yeah.
And I think I should pick real houses, not just individuals. I'm gonna play the game, and I will also go with House Stark.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. This was my favorite episode so far, so I think I gotta go 8 out of 10. Because I mean, okay, we've learned how all the characters operate over the first 3 episodes, and now we get to see how they interact with like other people. Like, I don't know. We were introduced to like a lot of new characters this episode. We had Van Damme in the armory. We had Hodor. We had Logan
Sam.
Paul. Yeah, Sam. Oh yeah, Sam's a big one, literally. And then we also have more. I don't know. They alluded to like a lot of exciting things that will probably happen soon. I want to see what the Mountain does to Sansa when she tells everyone that story. He's gonna murder Sansa. No,
No.
I don't think it's gonna happen. But that would be a funny. Maybe I'll write that comic myself. And then maybe Cersei's gonna start poisoning Ned's food. I don't know. This burritos at Taco Bell. Maybe we didn't get a lot of Rob in this. We just got the blackberry jam.
Yep.
But
You mean
kind of
And
just
then
Robert
his
Baratheon?
yeah.
Drunk Rob. Yeah.
Gotta qualify which Robert
I forgot.
you mean.
Yeah, there's like 5 Robs and Tom.
Very
No.
hastily.
But yeah, we just got like sensory details from Rob Baratheon this time. He was doing some 50 women at the same time, or drinking, and that was it. That's all he did this episode.
Yeah. Well, I missed a point. Something about like what Kit was saying with him cueing everyone to act like they are literally waiting for him to start the match, and he just finally like shouts out.
Yeah.
Oh God, there was another point. Do you remember? Either of you remember a point of contrast that was like somebody else that was in a high position that was commanding something, sort of like him in this episode? Was it Viserys?
Oh, I
I don't remember.
don't know.
And I thought I noticed it, and I was like, ooh, that contrast, Rob Baratheon. I can't remember.
There probably was, but yeah, I don't remember. But yeah, he's just like, damn it, start the tournament already.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it made me wonder. So were they just waiting for him to start it? Like
Probably.
that's how it. So he was just sitting there because when they first show him, he's just sitting there drinking.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so he could have started it at any time. He didn't have to be
I think so.
bored at all. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. He's the king, but it's just like a funny.
Oh yeah, and also it is called the Hands Tournament, so maybe he was waiting for Ned. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
but he
that's
definitely cues them though. He does tell them. He commands them at the finally start it.
Oh yeah. There is no mention of Ned. Is there? Maybe I missed it, but no one's like, "Hey, where's Ned?" This is his tournament. Got like pictures.
No one
of
mentions it at the tournament, but Cersei Lannister, when she shows up, she says, "Oh, you're not at the tournament," and Ned says, "Just because it's named after me doesn't mean it's my tournament."
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
That's
I just thought it was weird. Like no one was like, "Where? What up with Ned? Like, where's Ned? We did this for him." Where like Larry David didn't come out and like, what's the deal here? So
What's the deal here?
this is all for Ned. Not even here. I don't know. That's not how Larry David sounds. But anyway, okay. So that was a good episode. You know, like I don't know, maybe 8 out of 10 was too high, but I like the John stuff. I think Sam I think he's fine. I don't know. I like his introduction. And then I liked I liked Prosy. She looked good in that tub. All right, and then we did get one comment on a video.
All right.
Lannister fashion.
Salamance 94 IFY, or is it Iffy? He said, "I enjoyed this." This is episode 1. And also, I did see Water for Elephants in 2019. Haha.
Oh, he actually listened.
He listened far enough into the. I think that's like the 20-minute mark.
Oh, I guess that's right at the beginning, though. Never mind.
Like Water for Elephants. Like I didn't know anyone knew that movie existed, and now it's. I guess everybody does. Is that movie good?
I don't know. I've read the book, not seen the
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, is the book good?
Not good.
Okay.
No.
I want to hear.
Not a
I want to
fan.
see more comments about Water for Elephants. No, I'm just kidding.
Gosh.
I mean, I do. I would like to see if more people knew about that movie. But I just want to know, like, how do people feel about Sam? For you guys, JoJo and Kit, at this point, I don't know if you remember. Do you guys think Tyrion was the one that tried to kill Bran?
I remember what I thought. I was pretty sure it wasn't Tyrion at this point. This is not said with any. I'm not saying this at all with any implications of what is happening after this episode. I just remember being very convinced at this point. It didn't. Well. So do we have any
Oh
reason
yeah, we already know. I forgot.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
We
you.
already know. I totally forgot. They showed us who did it.
I was
All right,
like,
never mind.
Is there any reason?
Never mind.
We
I
have to
forgot about that
downward.
little aspect. We didn't talk about
So-
the three-eyed raven. What's the deal with that? Is it just a
I don't know.
raven
We'll
with
find out.
3 eyes? Okay.
We don't know yet.
Sometimes this show also does a good job. Sometimes I forget it's like a fantasy genre show, and then
Yes.
so it'd be like little things like the raven has 3 eyes. I forgot we're in a fantasy world because everything happening is pretty normal. It's like pretty realistic stuff. So
I know exactly what you mean. Like in the bathtub scene where the prostitute was like asking about dragons, and she said, "Have you ever seen a dragon?" There was a part of my brain that's like, "Lady, dragons aren't real," and then I remembered they are real.
Yeah.
In this,
I thought you were gonna say in the part in the bathtub scene, no one looked that good ever. This is a fantasy show. Mo from X-Men walks in as John Aaron.
Oh,
no, it's a reference to our
gosh.
other podcast that
Yes.
yeah, go check
Yes.
out.
how dare you
Comic
mention the
Book-
other podcast in front of me? I'm just kidding.
You can be on it anytime you want.
I know, I'm
you are
joking.
on. But yeah, just to shout out that where you have another podcast, even though we've barely started this one, go check that out. Comic Book Noobs. We're watching X-Men 97, but we're gonna be hopefully watching a variety of different shows. Yeah, all right. I think that's it for this episode. Next week we have episode 5. I once again did not look up the name. Thanks for watching, and thank you guys, JoJo and Kit. You two specifically make the show way better.
Oh.
No problemo.
I'm just saying that so I don't have to pay you any. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
Oh. Yeah. He
Cool.
doesn't miss.
Have a good one, guys.
See ya.
Boy.
Boom.